Welcome to Palm Paradise. I'm Christiana Lilly.
I'm Olivia Holaus.
And I'm Portia Dejan.
And we are the Palm Queens.
Queens.
Happy February. I feel like we just filmed the Welcome to the January issue, but now I have to say the February issue is out of Boca magazine.
Time is flying when you're busy writing.
This time of year is absolutely crazy, but so we have a lot of great stuff in here. Later, we're going to have a special guest on talking about her trip to Croatia because we have a travel story in here about Croatia, Festival of the Arts. One story that we actually worked on that I thought was really fun, and I talked about it in my cover letter, was the Behind the Vault story. Because I ended up going on a tour at FAU at the library there, and they showed us the archives, and they had things like one of the first printings of the Declaration of Independence, collections from Benjamin Franklin's, private collections. And I was like, why do we have this at Boca?
That's amazing.
I know. And so then I ended up talking with John and Tyler, our editorial team, and we decided to go to other cultural institutions. And what the heck do you guys have? In your closets there. So then we ended up going to the Boca Museum of Art, Boca Historical Society with the great Sue Gillis.
Oh, we love her.
And back to FAU at the library, and then the Wick Theater, and just the stuff cool they have in storage there at all these places. I'm just like, we have all these hidden gems and treasures and just crazy. Like there's Picasso's random sketches that he did at the library.
What?
It's unbelievable when you start digging what you can find. So, and it's cool that you get all that behind the scene access that we don't get.
Well, that's the thing.
Thank you for sharing that with everyone.
Well, that's the thing. You can ask to see these things. They're open to the public.
Oh.
Like the library, at the FAU library, I went there because I recently joined the Daughters of the American Revolution, and they hosted us, and they were showing it. They were like, we see 7th grade students, we have scholars, we have student researchers, we have just people who are just interested in American history, and you just make an appointment with them and they take you in there.
That's so great. Do you remember talking about the Wick when we went to Costume World?
That was the best.
It was so much fun. And we met Marilyn Wick.
Yes.
And just the archives of Broadway costumes that she has. I think she's the largest collector of Broadway costumes.
Yeah, it's not just costumes for Halloween. It's like these were pieces worn on Broadway by Katharine Hepburn.
Exactly.
And there's so many different eras. It was just awesome.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
We had so much
We had a lot of fun dressing up.
I'm glad you got to go and you can tell us all about it.
No, we had a good time. But it's so cool. Really cool.
So I just love those, I love, one of my favorite phrases is, did you know?
Yeah.
And so that's just what I think of as something that's really fun for Boca Magazine. Is just, did you know?
Yeah.
Because there's people that have been here for years and years and they're still learning. I'm still learning. And that's just what makes it the most fun to me, is just what's stuff right here in Boca, Del Rey, and Palm Beach County that we have all these. And especially now that we're doing the centennial celebrations, being able to look at all these fun things. And, I'm learning, all these different things that are going on, like who these people are named after, like Sanborn Square, who's that? Everybody knows Meisner, but there's...
Yeah, but speaking of Sanborn Square, not to cut you off, but they have such a cool sign now.
There's the new sign at Sanborn Square.
Have you seen it? I have not.
But you saw it on our Instagram, right?
Yeah,
I did. It was blowing up.
Guys, we went viral. Is it
Yay!
I think we were at 240,000 views.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Awesome.
It's cool.
I just went to the ribbon cutting and I was like, okay, this is cute. I'll just make a reel. I posted it and then I put my phone away. And then all of a sudden it was we kept getting all these alerts and shares and likes and comments. Some people hate it. Some people love it, which I was like, that's fine with me. Keep viewing and engaging.
Bringing back the retro.
Yeah.
I know. So then I had to tell the team, I'm like, guys, our most popular reel is a new sign in Boca. I like it though. I know. I like it. So you know a little bit about the background of this sign because it was a collaboration with the Boca Historical Society.
Yes, and they have a replica of that sign on the timeline of the museum. So it's just going back to the good old,
back to basics.
Yeah, going back to the beginnings, right, of Boca.
And I believe next year the goal is to put the replica back where the original sign was, which was on US 1 when you left Deerfield going into Boca. So there'll be this giant sign that says, like Boca
Like,
Raton.
welcome, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Love
awesome.
it. Love it.
But there's so much going on in Boca right now.
There is. But for a quick moment, we are going to travel to Croatia
Yes.
with our special guest. So stay tuned.
Yes.
All right, all you travelers out there. So for the February issue, we took a trip to Croatia and we have longtime journalist and my very good friend, Angela Caraway-Carlton. And so we want to hear all about your time in Croatia. Don't tell everything though, because we want to leave something for people to read.
Secrets.
Exactly. So Croatia, I think that's like the hot place right now for everybody to go. So I was really excited that you were able to write for us this issue.
Yeah, so it's not new, obviously. Dubrovnik has become very popular, but I feel like the story kind of concentrates on when to go to Dubrovnik, right?
Yes.
Because it is so popular. The cruise ships go there now, but what's fun for this is that we say go like mid-September, mid-October. I went in mid-October. And kind of like Florida, it's still warm, right? I literally checked in. I won't give away too many secrets, but I hit 2 Adriatic luxury collection hotels. So 2 of them, both all about the scenery, right? So I check in, I walk in. This is the first how I start the intro to this story. And I walk in, I go out on my balcony, I fling open everything, and I'm like, oh my goodness. It's literally etched into a cave. So when you drive up, very unassuming, right? Looks glass hotel, very pretty, but it's really the views when you go over and look at this cove. People are jumping off cliffs. This is a rite of passage in Croatia.
Did you jump off the cliff?
I'm adventurous.
Yes.
But I guess we'll get to this later too. I became sick on this trip.
Yes.
So we're gonna talk about that. I know. But I did not this time. So I get a redo. In my mind, I'm going to have to go back very soon. But
it's
anyway.
only right.
Yeah, it is. And so don't come at me because I'm sure, have you all seen Game of Thrones?
Nope.
Yes.
No.
Okay, good.
I thought I was the only one.
I've never seen Game of
How
Thrones.
is this
Not a miss.
possible?
All 3 of us. All 3 of us.
3?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
carry
Portia's
on.
going to be our Game of Thrones expert for this segment. All right, continue, Angela.
No, so I think that is point of why it's so popular, Dubrovnik, because there's so many scenes. I had not seen any of them. So by the time I got into Old Town, so these 2 hotels, the first one, the Hotel Bellevue that I checked in, is in walking distance. But really the star of this show is the views and this water, this cove that sits in front of it. The other hotel, which is Hotel Excelsior,
Yes.
got to get this out, is like literally within steps to get into Old Town where everything happens. And it's like claim to fame, if you've been on Instagram, is this beautiful sea pool, right? So it's like literally a pool, but it's kind of in the sea.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
you're floating in the water, and literally the medieval old city is your backdrop.
Wow.
There's a reason it's called Old Town.
There's a reason it's called Old Town.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so getting there, not to like hog the conversation here, but
We're here to listen.
That's
to you.
right. Yeah.
Thank you.
I
love
haven't
this.
been to Croatia.
Yeah, and create a sense of wanderlust right now. I mean,
Good. So it's in walking distance, and so being right there and seeing this old town, it's where they filmed a lot of Game of Thrones. So you want to get in there, but I didn't have a guide because, again, I got sick. So I missed the tour that I was supposed to go on. So it meant kind of walking into town and doing the tour myself, which means I knew nothing about that. But you can kind of figure out where the Game of Thrones sites are. I guess like you're the only one, right?
Yes,
Who's seen it.
yes.
The
Every episode, several
stairwell.
times.
I don't know what happened at any of these locations, but I was just taking pictures because I saw other people taking
The
pictures.
stairwell. Are you talking about? Well, you're not gonna know.
I know. No. Some queen comes out.
Daenerys, the Dragon Queen.
it sounds good.
Sure. Let's say that's who
Our
it is.
listeners will know.
I'm sure everyone out there will know. So that's what I'm saying. I just kind of spied on other people, and I was like, "Hey, was this in the scene?" And then I would pose, like I knew that. What's really cool, though, and this is what I really appreciated about this experience, is I didn't have the guide, so I just wandered around. And I tell people where to get the best gelato. I tried several because I had been sick. I deserved it. And so I had
And
my
you know,
gelato.
as a travel writer, it's your job.
It is always my job to eat and drink everything. So, yeah, it is.
The best job.
It really
I know.
is. It
My
really
dream
is.
job.
Like, how do I
Well,
sign up?
come on with me. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So walking around there and just there's all of these. In Palm Beach, we would say villas. It's more like alleyways, but you just kind of wander around. I stumbled across an amazing restaurant where I had lunch. I found this one bar that's by the cliffs where all the tourists were kind of being chided on and stripping down and just jumping off the cliff. Again, I was really jealous because I wanted my picture jumping off the cliff, but it was a little chilly. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that September, October is not a little chilly, but you miss all those crowds.
Right. The summer crowds.
I have a rule. I do not go to Europe after like Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And then I'll wait till usually October, November to go. It was still busy. So my tip would be, if you are going to go, like plan going to Old Town when the cruise ships are not there. And then you're also, so you have this whole lower level of the Old Town that you're walking around, but there's the upper walls and you have to pay extra. I think I paid 29 or 30 euros to do this, and you go up and you're walking the top of the walls.
Oh, wow.
And all you're seeing are like the red rooftops, and you get the sea, you get the fortress views, and there are churches. Like you could just go back and forth forever. I recently had a mutual friend of ours, and if she's listening, she'll know who she is, that said that her friend didn't love Dubrovnik. And I'm like, that's like blasphemy. How could you not?
It's like people that say that I didn't like Paris.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like, how are you
I
thinking
mean, you had
that?
me at Game of Thrones.
Right. Exactly. But I think, getting there, the trick is that she said it felt very touristy. I did not feel like that when I was there in October. And then also going outside of Dubrovnik, you can hop these two hotels that I told you about. You can hop on a yacht, like they'll take you out to the islands. One thing to keep in mind, it's not like Florida. Once we get into that like off season of October, some of these islands have shut down. So you're going to go in there and it's not going to have the same atmosphere. But you got to weigh the options.
Yeah.
You want it super crowded and still be able to enjoy things. Kind of, pick your pleasure, I guess.
I think September, October sounds just perfect.
Yeah.
So,
And Olivia, you go
Prices.
to Italy all the time, so you can
Yep.
just hop on over to Croatia.
I know it's
know.
so close. Maybe this summer.
I'll meet you
Yeah,
there. No,
yeah.
not summer. No, did we not learn anything? in this
No, I know
conversation?
you are correct, but I'm there for 2 months in Italy,
Oh, well,
so that's
pardon
why.
me then.
Yeah, with her in-laws and her kids.
So we may. I know. Yeah, I know.
It's a
I know.
very
You're
rough
right.
life.
Or we just leave the kids in September here at
Yeah.
school, and then we'll go. But yeah,
Sounds good. But
No,
yeah,
it sounds great.
it was good. Other than the sickness, it was an incredible trip.
How was the food?
Okay, so that I put this on the list to talk about. I mean, we think we have decent seafood in South Florida. Best seafood of my life
I can
in
imagine.
Croatia.
Really?
Yeah, you'll read about it in the article. One of the days we went over to Mali Stone. It's spelled like Ston, but it's pronounced Stone. Another fortress type city. And we took a little boat out to a floating oyster farm. And literally they're bringing in the oysters and the mussels. And we're just sitting there. And on the little boat ride, they serve grappa and wine. The wine is, okay, stop back to that. So sitting there, just having the freshest seafood. And this little area, without giving too much, in this bay, is some of the cleanest water in the world, which is why in
Love
Molly
it.
Stone, the seafood tastes so good. And they took us to a restaurant. I've included it in the article where it was like a feast of seafood. And there's a term, and I cannot, in my southern drawl, make this. It's in the story.
Angela is from Alabama, but you are trucking through.
All right, good. Well,
I imagined it's pomalo.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
I would say it's a
Sorry,
Paloma day, but
Sorry,
it's not
Croatians
a Paloma.
out there.
Yeah.
You actually know what? Correct us. Let us know how we're supposed to say it.
Oh, I'm sure they
Yeah.
will. My can't help.
Well, this is kind of like the equivalent of like how in Costa Rica they have Pura
Pura
Vida.
Vida.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing of like a relaxed, wonderful day. And that's what our guide said as we're sitting there feasting on seafood, drinking wine. She said it's a
Pomalo.
Pomala
that's
day.
nice.
And
I
so
love
anyway, I
that.
thought we talk about that in the story because it was just like the sun was shining, the Adriatic sparkling, you've got all the beautiful seafood. So when you go there, that's my tip. So obviously you're going to have seafood. There's also really amazing Italian food there. That was a restaurant that I went to that was wandering around in Old Town. So you want to bring back olive oil, which I did. So they have really amazing olive oil. You want to bring back wine because it's hard to get Croatian wine. Also, I'm not a big white wine drinker, but really good white wine. And then I
Nice.
bought some art as well in Old Town. So those are the things that you have to.
Okay.
So the food and wine are definitely the star. So like movie star good looks, you've got this movie backdrop and all the food and the culture and history to match.
That's
And-
amazing.
And so I just want to tease this a tiny bit, but I don't want to go into it too much. But you're also doing a story for us about your trip to Ireland.
Yes.
Another place I want to go. I want your life. Thank you.
Yes.
Really quick, Angela, I know you keep track. How many countries have you been to?
45.
45.
45.
Amazing.
And
Estonia was number 45, I think it was.
No, it hit like 42, I think.
I remember
was
you had kept
Estonia.
track of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to
That's
Finland
awesome.
and then shot over to Estonia. We got to talk about that one day
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So quickly, as part of preferred luxury hotels, I hit 5 hotels in 8 days but I skipped Dublin altogether, which I think that's what makes this story interesting. People know Dublin, right? So I flew in and immediately was in a car and got out of there. And the whole story is basically, castles, food tours. You've got all of these properties that, again, sort of like the Croatia, you don't want to always go to a place for a hotel, but these hotels make it hard to leave.
Yeah.
So, and then just, seeing Ireland and be able to drive through all of this and everything was changing. One minute you were like seeing the sheep, on the side of the road. Yeah, there's so many things.
How was it driving on the other side of the road?
I didn't drive, girl.
Okay.
You're like, don't ask me.
I
couldn't tell you.
It's kind of like your Italian vacay. I'm like, I don't know. I don't drive.
But my husband last year went with a bunch of guys to Ireland on a golf trip and had the best time. He said it was just so beautiful. So, yeah.
It was never on my bucket list.
yeah.
I always pick the strange places like Estonia or Finland, somewhere where there's something cold kind of these days, being in South Florida. But literally when I went, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come back. It really is just one of those special places.
So I have to know now, like, what is the top place that you really want to go to next?
Oh, that's next? Man, I should have thought about this better. For me, it's like, so one of my favorite places that I went last year was Finland. That was a bucket list because I love Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Obsessed with Santa, the whole thing. So
She has this
You're so
huge
cute, Angela.
I know. She has this amazing girls' Christmas party every year at her house, and it's like a production. 'Cause she's-
pancakes and pajamas. You wear your pajamas. We drink champagne all day. All of
her
our
poor husband is sitting there flipping pancakes like, I hate this day. We're all like, Dad!
It is fun. So my obsession with Christmas drove me to Finland. So that was like marking that off is huge. I would say like Australia is big on my list. And I just met another travel writer from New Zealand. So I want to put those two together. But I need a month. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping, spoiler alert, my husband, I think he's going to get a sabbatical next year for like a month. I'm not even really sure what that means exactly, but I'm already like we these places that we want to do something big. We're reserving
Trying to
for
put it
like
in that
New
time
Zealand
frame,
or
yeah.
Australia or Asia, and just hitting every little place that we can. Because Asia's big on my list too. Those are kind of the main 3, and a safari that I haven't done.
Amazing.
Sorry, I could keep adding to this
I
list.
know.
It's a bad list.
Well, I know everybody always says, like, you must have the best job, but sometimes travel goes wrong. And you had mentioned that you were sick for half of the time you're in Croatia. And I mean, there's obviously worse things, but one of the worst things is being sick when you're traveling.
Horrible. And not only being sick when you travel, but being sick in another country.
Yeah.
So yeah, I happened basically on my second day of Croatia, and I was on a fam trip, which means you're familiarizing yourself with a destination. So I got in before everybody else at 8 a.m. into Dubrovnik, and I hit the ground running. And so I would suggest to the way I plan my vacations or travel, I book all the things that I can't miss those first few days, right? In case anything goes wrong, I prioritize those. And then I kind of like make it more leisurely. My husband would maybe say that he would not call it leisurely at the end of it. But that's the idea. The massages, shopping, or, just something that's down there. So thankfully I had hit the ground running, which a lot of those places, I got to dip in the water. It was beautiful that day, dip in the water in Croatia. I went over to I took a ferry to another island. I talk about that in there. So I really got a lot done in that first day. And then it hit me probably the next morning. I woke up and was so sick.
Yikes.
So I would say if you're traveling, I used to kind of our younger selves of fly by the seat of my pants. I also got almost stuck in Iceland.
She almost became a resident of Iceland during COVID.
They shut down the borders right before the night that I was flying to southern Iceland, and I decided
She's texting me. She goes,
the worst
I
thing
don't
that could
know.
happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? Well, the worst thing that could happen is a pandemic that
Yes.
none of us even knew was possible. Anyway, I digress. So I was sick, and as I'm lying on the beautiful tile bathroom at Hotel Bellevue in Croatia, I was like, oh my God, the one time I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I had not bought travel insurance.
Oh, of course.
So I would always say, buy the insurance, especially if you're spending a lot of money on an international trip, buy the insurance. It can range anywhere from $60 to a couple $100. But as I was sitting there, I was like, oh my God, I was so sick. I'm like, what if I end up in the hospital? I'm traumatized from all my other travels and the going by this, what could happen attitude. It always happens, right?
Yeah.
So I had to, your best friend is going to be the front desk or the concierge. I called down, told them the situation. They helped me determine where the closest, their version of an urgent care was. They called me a taxi. So $300 and something later, I came back, and your next best friend is always going to be the room service. I called down there, told them what happened. They got me soup, and, I made it through. But I'd say, traveling these days, there's so many things. I don't even want to know what this next year is going to bring. So buy your travel insurance, call down, find out where pharmacies are, kind of make that, I sort of plan ahead and kind of figure out what's near you in case you do have, and you have children, right?
Mhm.
So I don't
Yeah.
have kids. So I can imagine, I always kind of determine when I go in out of the country now is where's the closest, urgent care, ER, where's the consulate, where is all of that?
Mhm.
Because
Good
again,
Yeah.
being in Iceland, it was who's going to take care of me? Who's going to make sure I get back to the U.S.? I need a helicopter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're still in a foreign country.
Yeah.
It's still unknown, so it's good
Yeah.
to familiarize yourself. Really good tip.
and pack. Luckily, I recovered very quickly. They gave me Europe has amazing antibiotics.
They do. They do.
Really?
Over the counter,
You left
too.
that out of the story. That's in your
I
sidebar.
did leave that out of the story, but it knocked it out quickly. So again, I make sure that I hit those many things, and I'm glad that I did because we wouldn't have had much of a story. I rallied at the end, but yeah,
That was great.
And she was like,
great
I don't know what I'm going to do.
reason.
I'm like, it'll be fine.
yeah.
We've had other travel writers where they're like, the weather didn't cooperate. I'm like, that's traveling. When you travel,
Yeah.
things don't work out all the time, but that just kind of adds to the adventure. And then you have a funny story for a podcast later.
Yeah.
I'm not sure still. I'm still a little bitter about it, actually. But I do think it worked out because I did miss the first tour. Not to say that was not a bad tour, but I was able to experience it on my own. And I really appreciated that. Instead of, I was able to kind of determine what I wanted, where I wanted to eat, what I was going to see, and make up my own stories about what happens in Game of Thrones.
Well, that was one last question. Does this make you want to watch Game of Thrones after your visit?
I mean, I guess I'm going to say no because it's been since October and I still haven't watched it.
Oh, man.
So
This is a
I
travesty.
guess
This is a
I guess I
travesty.
shouldn't. But it's so beautiful. I was like, why do I need to watch something? I've been there. I have lived what's the dragon's name? Or the dragon lady's name?
Daenerys.
All right. Well, I have lived her life.
Portia's about to walk out.
It's like, I can't be friends with these women anymore. I'm
So
done.
much- I've learned new information, people. I did not know this. But let me just, one last rally for Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is literally one of my top 3 TV shows of all time. All
Really?
time. And I tell everybody this. If you can get through 3 episodes, you will be hooked. But you
Okay.
have to get through 3.
Is it the atmosphere of seeing Dubrovnik?
I don't know.
No. Okay. All right.
But
It's
I would assume
Winterfell
so.
or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would assume so, but it's all, a fictitious land, and they go all over the place, to be honest. They
Right.
go to various locations, but it's awesome. The writing is just 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Definitely
All right.
recommend.
Well, you read my story.
I will.
And I will make a pact that I'll watch the show too. How about you? We'll try.
I will try.
We'll try. All right, we all have homework, everybody.
And are we going to tease the worth a trip?
Oh yeah, one really quick. We have one that you didn't have to travel very far for.
No, 4 hours, Longboat Key. I went to the new St. Regis. It was the largest development they've had in Longboat Key, which is near Sarasota, for those people who may not know. The largest development in 50 years. And so going on your question of earlier of like my list, I have my top 5 in Florida, which we won't go into that now. But it's so good that it's number 2 out of all of Florida. That's a hard slot to get.
I got to read that too.
I know. She came back and she was like, Christiana, I don't have words.
Yeah. Well, I do have words.
So many that she didn't have, she was just like, I can't wait to write about this for you guys. So Boca Magazine, you have lots of fun travel stories coming up this year.
Yes.
So Angela, thank you so much for coming on today. We'll have to bring you back on for your other travel adventures.
We're meeting you.
Guys,
This is
this is a
awesome.
beautiful atmosphere. And it's just so fun.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So I just renewed my passport, and I feel like my next passport stamp should be Croatia now.
I think so. I think my next stop will be my couch watching Game of Thrones.
I think I'm going to watch it for the 9th time.
But anyway, any special Valentine's Day plans for you ladies?
I feel like we just got over Christmas and New Year's and my husband's birthday, and I'm like, no.
I need a break.
I know.
It's love day every day, right?
Exactly. I mean, we don't go out for Valentine's Day. Like what we do is we go all out by like buying, the lobster tail and the porterhouse steak and, wine and everything. And we just make it at home together. And then we don't have to get rushed out. There's not like a fixed menu. We don't have to worry about, it's just, we end up spending way less for more, in my opinion. And it's fun. We have fun cooking together. That's something we enjoy doing together.
I think that's fun. Like I honestly, it's kind of, I feel like amateurs. It's become so like capitalistic, so we tend to do what you do as well.
Yeah, and we don't really do gifts. Like we might do like a gag gift or something small, or like he knows I like Haribo gummy bears, so he gets me gummy bears. And I like cards. I'm a really big card person, so he'll do that. But yeah, we don't like...
We'll still go out, but never on Valentine's Day.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll pick an off day either before or after just to get rid of that the traffic of people. Primarily, if we could do it not on a weekend or a Friday night, even better. I still get my little cards. I definitely still get my cards. And I get flowers. And then...
Yeah, the florists are going to be busy.
Yeah, and the girls get a Valentine bear every year. And I really did think that maybe they're over it, And then every year...
They expect it.
And
they've kept all of them? Wow.
So you're going to have to mail one to your oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, don't remind her.
But that would be such a cute care package.
I'm already ahead of you. I already got other elements. So I normally don't give the Valentine's Day. It's their dad. But this is the first year I'm going to be adding to it. And then we're going to put an overall care package.
You get her like fun like candy and like,
Got it.
Oh, you got
gummy
it.
bears. There you go.
And do you do anything fun with your boys, or do they usually get you anything, or just...
They don't get me anything. I get a hug and that's it. And I have to remind them that it's Valentine's Day. No, but no, cards for sure. Daniel and I will definitely give each other cards. And I really think, every day is a day to share your love. So
Absolutely.
I'm a little anti-Valentine's Day. It sounds...
Yeah. Well, like I said,
but...
it's just we just had back holidays, and then it's my brother's birthday in January, and then I'm just like, no, guys, I can't.
And you should literally, I think, say I love you every day to your loved ones.
Sure.
Like not just once, but multiple times. So yeah.
And like it's always fun. We can probably talk about this another time, but like discovering your love language.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah,
mine.
I know mine. But
All right, well, I guess really quick, rapid fire, Portia. What's your love language?
Acts of service #1 and a very, very, very close second, gifts.
Okay.
Gifts #1 and a close second. What she said, reverse. No,
I don't know the exact order because I haven't taken the official exam. I self-diagnosed myself. Was probably acts of service and like words of affirmation.
So I'm just the materialistic one here.
I'm not saying I don't like gifts, but I think that's the thing is gifts can be just, I got you Haribo gummy bears because I was out and I saw you.
The gifts don't need to be of a monetary value. They just have
it's
to
nice
be
if they are.
From the heart.
Yeah.
So she says.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Love Day. And this is it for Poem Paradise, powered by Boca Magazine. Give us some love on social media, too. We're on TikTok and Instagram. Follow us on your favorite podcasting station, and you can watch our antics on YouTube. So thanks, everybody, and bye.
Bye.